Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about ns3 logging. There are different cases where you use logging. I'm going to first talk about how you could define a log component and then using it in a main function. And the second one is using basically, if you have a custom class, using it in the custom class. It's the same way, but I just want to show different examples. This is a main function of an example where I create custom application. I have a video about this program, so I haven't changed it, just added logging components. So I'm doing here ns log component define. This is a macro that says that this is a log component. And this allows me to do ns log messages. So as you can see here, this loop, there is a message where I say setting up mobility for a node. Let me run this. And if I run this, dash run custom application example, there's nothing printed. And I intentionally made it not print anything. This is a log level logic, right? And so in order to enable that, I have to do this log component enable. And then what was the name? I'll just copy it. And then I define the level of logging. I'll show you what that means. Log level, let's say logic. So now I can basically switch this on and off, or maybe have a flag that I pass to the compiler and then have an F statement whether I want to print this information or not. And in this case, I'm going to basically print that. So let me show it. So as you can see, it's saying setting up mobility for node 0 and node 1 and node 2, node 3, node 4. Okay, so what is a log level? If you go to the documentation, ns3 documentation for logging, you could see that you have these log level. Let me just make it clear. That's too big. So log level logic is here. There we go. Log level logic. So basically, if you trigger that on, it will trigger on everything below it. So log level logic and above. Okay. If it's a log level error, if it's a log level error, it will only print things where you do, I could basically do something like that. You know, ns log level, what was it? Log level, yeah. So log level warn, log level warn, or error, for example. An error happen. Yeah, you could do that if you want. And that prints it. No, it's not like that. It's ns log error. There you go. All right. And if I print that, it's printing this error message, right? And the reason for that is this one here, because if I trigger log level logic, it will trigger all of these below it. Let's look at a different example. I have another example. I have this class called custom application. So custom application is a class we created here. In every function, I have nslog function. And in every, I have here for this receive packet, ns log level info. So nslog info. And in this promiscuous callback that receives extra information on the physical layer, I'm calling nslog debug macro. And so let's look back at this one. If I enable debug, it will not show me info. And so let's do that. So over here, log level debug, let's run this. Okay. Maybe I should, make it a little clearer. All right. So as you can see, I'm only printing the promiscuous, the one in the promiscuous Rx function. We can do log level info and it will show both. Why would it show both? Because info debug warn log. So that's the level. And let's do info. And that will show both. Clear. All right. So as you can see, I'm printing log level info and log level promiscuous Rx. I could also do log level all, which will basically trigger them all, right? We notice here that function is above that. So let's try to enable log level function. So log level function basically is used to trace calls to functions. So usually when you write your own methods or functions, you have it in the first line nslog function, just to show that. Let me enable log level function and let's do that. So with log level function, I would expect the function calls and the log, so the ns log function and the nslog info and the nslog debug. All right. There is another way to trigger logging. So if I didn't have this here, maybe I just want to run it once for some reason. I can run the program by doing nslog equals and the name of the component custom application waf -- run custom application example. So this basically enables all log level all to custom application. And if you run it, we could see that it did just that. The difference here, as you can see, we're getting a little bit of extra information. And the reason for that is because it adds a prefix. This prefix here is the time when the event happened and the node ID, if applicable. If it's not applicable, it will show you -1. So it will show you that. And let me just make this smaller. Okay, this I think is better. As you can see here, this here is log level debug. It shows you here that it is debug. This is an info message where I said receive packet. It has here the time of the event and the node where it happened, which is node 4. And here in this one, node 0 is where the event happened. Okay, you can actually control that prefix. It's mentioned here in this document, and but you can control, before I go into that, you can control what gets there. So first let me clear this. So let me say equals debug. So this will only show debug messages from custom application. As you can see, promiscuous Rx is the only place where we have debug. I can have multiple ones separated by, I believe it's colon. So what was the first one I had? So I had this one here, and I'm gonna copy it. And what was my, it's a logic. Okay, let me see logic and debug. I don't know their order. Yeah, logic is way up there. Let me do just all. So I'm just gonna paste this. I could also say here what I want. So for example, if I want error, then that's what will happen. Let me do that again. So we don't really have error. I think I removed it, right? Yeah, let me just test it. ns log error, and error happen. Frowny face. Of course, with this one, it won't show an ID number. So let me just try to run this again. And now we'll enable logging on 2 components. So as you can see, this one is for promiscuous Rx, right? Which is the debug of custom application. And I believe if we scroll back up, we're almost there. You could see an error happened, right? Where we basically, because we enabled in custom application example, the main, we enabled error. So there is an advantage to this method to others. So for example, let me go back here and let me only enable info, right? So if I did it this way, basically I'm saying enable logging on custom application with log level info. So interestingly, this way we don't actually get the what's that one? We don't actually get the debug, even though info is higher than debug, right? As I have shown before. Also, the advantage of doing that is enabling log components on ns3 classes. For example, Jan's Wi-Fi fee. All right, and let me just do debug. And let's see what that gives me. Start transmission, signal power, stuff like that, right? And as you can see, it doesn't have prefixes. And if I do info, I don't think info shows anything. There's no log level info. You can enable all. You could do it to any ns3 component where a component was defined. As you can see, these are all the function calls, you know, start rtx, start whatever, and so on. Okay, this is about logging. The last thing about logging is you could actually determine a prefix. And I think there is an example here. I don't usually do that, but there is an example here where we show prefix level. So what's the prefix level? So if you basically did it like this, it will output it like that. So let me do just that. And let me do it with our own custom example. I think it's saved somewhere. And was it like this? No, that's a pipe. Oh, okay. All prefix level. So let me do equals all prefix level. That is not how it is. Scratch emulator. Yeah, that's not how it works. Prefix time. So or time. This does it for all star. So all component, and the log level is all. And I think I need the quotation for this one to work. There we go. As you can see, it has the prefix info and debug before each message. You could have multiple different prefixes. So you got time and node and function and whatnot. So you could say, what is the node prefix, right? So prefix node. I can do it like that. Where was my code? Prefix node, and that will show me the node ID, so node ID, and then what the event, and so on. All right, that's it about logging. I don't want to talk more about it. It's basically allows you to have these logging functions that are not enabled by default, so that you can run your programs, and if you have a problem and you want to see what's going on, you could trigger them either by using ns function call, log component enable, and basically enabling the level you want, or running your program such as you have ns log as the beginning before you do the WAF run. And that's it about logging. I was asked about logging, so this is my answer to that. I'm not sure what else to make about ns3. I have some subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. I don't know what I just wanted to cover a few basic principles in ns3, and most of it is things you learn by yourself. So I hope you appreciate that. Thank you. Like the video and subscribe and comment if you have questions. Thank you very much and have a nice day.